Welcome to the 2016 Excalibur YFS debates. Excalibur just concluded the presidential debates. Now we're here to speak with the campus life candidates. And here they are. The format of the debate will be as follows. Both candidates will go through a brief introduction, and then we have a set of questions to ask the candidates, followed by closing remarks. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hi, my name is Barsha Ghosh, and I'm running for VP Campus Life with Team Left. I love my university and I love my campus life, and for that reason I want to bring positive changes for all the students on campus, and for that I need your help to make these changes, and I know you guys can make positive changes on campus regardless for whatever reasons, whatever things is going on at York University.
Alright. Hi folks, my name is Jordan Madeira. I am a candidate for the position of Vice President of Campus Life. I am running with Student Action. I don't really have that much to say. I hope that these answers will speak for themselves. I'm super excited for you folks to get to know my points better through these questions. I'm more excited to speak to you on the floor, and I hope that my enthusiasm and my passion will speak for itself as we go along.
Great. So you folks are running for campus life, and to me that sort of means you're looking into the issues that affect students on a day-to-day basis. And one of the biggest issues is student space. Well, to address that, we have a new student center coming in. What I noticed is that there seems to be a lot of religious space allocated to the new student center. According to the 2011 census, however, about a quarter of Ontario residents identify as secular, atheist, or irreligious. So my question to you is, if you are elected, what will you do to improve the representation of secular and atheist students in the Student Center?
I think it's a great question, first of all, and as I said, having the campus life, everybody's here equal, and you have all the rights as a student to express yourself. For me, as an atheist or any other students to express themselves, it is a big issue. That is great news that we're having a new student center for all the students coming up upcoming year. And for me, one of my policies that I want to present to all the students, that we have a really diverse multicultural campus with the multicultural students all around the campus. That for that I want to create a certain place at YFS Center that people can commute, come in, interact with each other as multicultural lounge where people can have potlucks or any kind of discussion they want to have, spoken words, such things like that. And also I want to work with multicultural clubs around the campus to host different kind of events going all around the campuses. So for that, when you have different kind of sort of people, students around the campus are having issues, and they can talk to each other at the place, a designated place, and express themselves in a safe environment. So that's one of the things I would love to do that for all the campus students.
Great. So I think, first of all, the conversation about the new student center is a conversation that we need to have once a designated candidate is brought into the position, because that is more of an issue that students are going to be brought in to be more well known about once there is communication between myself or any of the other candidates brought in for the position. In terms of representation for students who identify as secular or atheists, I personally would just focus on my relations with student clubs who focus on that representation for students currently at YorkU. I feel that the reason why we have, you mentioned Scott Religious Center, for one, the reason why we have those spaces is because a significant amount of spaces right now can be classified as neutral, or as spaces where folks may not feel comfortable to come out and pray, to practice their religious beliefs, etc., etc., etc. And while, of course, I do believe that every individual is entitled and should be allowed to practice their own rights, it's also important to recognize that when you're talking about secular and atheist, you're talking about the absence of religion. And so these folks may easily just feel as comfortable in more common lounge, like common spaces, lounge spaces, and for us to put something out that says, okay, let's focus on the absence of religion, that may not be the best route. I'm not saying that there is not a direct route to be taken. I'm just saying that there needs to be a more appropriate way of looking at this issue. And I think that can only that process can only be started once communication has started between administration, the advice and the support of the people who the Student Center is going to be supported by, obviously the students who voted for the ratification of the Student Center, and the position of VP Campus Life.
Okay. If we're touching on student issues here, the previous round of candidates who were in here emphasized mental health. I myself actually was at a Senate meeting 2 weeks ago, and one professor, she went up and said that, as faculty, we find it difficult to help students who are going through mental health crises because faculties oftentimes don't really have any training, any mental health training, which is understandable as professors, right? So my question to you is, what will you do to advocate for students with mental health problems, and how will you address that specific issue of faculty not having the training or the resources to help students going through crises?
I'd be happy to start. A lot of my campaign plans specifically focus on wellness, and student action just recently is the current party in power for the York Federation of Students. We just had the very successful Mental Health Wellness Week. I think that is a very, very good starting place in which to expand more knowledge, ending stigma, more awareness of sort of what folks can do outside of the June 27th and the Stigma Mental Health Day, because I feel like a lot of folks just get stuck in talking about it on social media, and these, like you mentioned, these problems are very, very real. I have a significant amount of friends who do suffer from mental illness, and I do have a significant amount of friends actually who are my teammates, who have had difficulties with faculty and things of that manner. In regards to your your question, I should say. The issue is
Yes.
mental health. In regards to your question of faculty, I don't think it's that far of a reach to why we shouldn't have more faculty training or more faculty resources available to them as well. They are in charge for a significant amount of folks' embodiment. Students come in, they are technically forced to trust the professors. They're forced to trust these people who are delivering knowledge onto them. And I think that it should be at least a resource available through the York Federation of Students. Maybe not exclusively to faculty, but more public resources. So that's why I'm talking about expanding the Mental Health Wellness Week, where faculty, students, peers, staff, any folks are welcome to come in and embody like what they need to do in order to approach this situation appropriately, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So it's my turn, I guess. So it is very, very, very important, I think, as a mental health illness. So one of our points that we want to create as a team lift, as a mental healthness aware, a center, for a specific center for students to come in. It's like having a peer session, a peer-to-peer. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed with so many things going on around the school that you're not aware of. The top of that, you're studying, and that's mental illness can affect your educational life, and that is very, very important. You're paying so much money every year to get a certain degree, and going through the mental illness and not able to reach what you want to reach, it's not acceptable for any of our students. So for us as a team, we want to create a mental illness aware center where people will be peer-to-peer, will be trained and educated as anybody who feels that way to come in, approach and have a peer conversation. Sometimes you do feel intimidated just going into some counseling. Hey, I'm feeling this way and I need to have an appointment. But as a peer, as a friend, I think it is very important to come in and have any kind of normal conversation where all these people will have trained for a safe talk and also will active listening. They are not the counselor, don't get me wrong. They are the people who will dare to listen to you and guide you through where you should be designated. As a faculty, I do realize every faculty has their colleges, and every college has their peer mentors for doing certain things like that. And as me being part of Faculty of Science, we do have Bethune College, and as a peer mentor, I'm as a peer mentor and advisor, I do go through that. I have students coming in and they are overwhelmed, and having this stress is definitely not fair for the students to go through that. Having a person as a peer to have a conversation, they feel much more comfortable, and from there, if you're trained as a safe talk or active listener, you do realize what they're actually going through, and you can direct them to the right places. As I said, it is not counseling, but it is definitely, we can do that for a student, that we don't want them to reach into certain areas that they need to see a counselor for any kind of crisis moment. But as a VP Campus Life and as a team lift, I think we can, that's one of our goals that we want to create on campus, so they feel comfortable coming in and approach us for any kind of reasons and have sources for them.
Okay. Great. So I want to keep this discussion rolling and ask a few more questions about student issues. And one other issue that keeps cropping up on this campus is food. So if elected, what will you do to make sure that students have affordable and healthy food? It's a perennial question at York. I can already see you're grinning. So we can start with you.
Absolutely. Working part-time for the York Federation of Students right now, I have had a significant amount of experience with the Good Food Box, with the food bank, and things of that nature. And Student Action is taking appropriate measures to make sure that folks are addressing healthy food options and just access to food. Because what has ended up happening is that like any food that is available for these students is good food, and I don't think that's really like an appropriate option for a lot of students, especially for students who are not able to like branch out and like have any choice. One of the campaign promises of one of my teammates is to bring back the daily shuttle that heads to the local grocery store. I believe it was the superstore. It was unfortunately just abolished this year to a significant amount of backlash. Students would be able to ride this transit for free. Superstore, they would say, you know what, shop, get your groceries, meet us back here, and we will take you back home. And I think that is like a very, very, very important resource for students. When it comes to affordable, because not many students will be able to afford Superstore, things of that nature. Another one of my teammates is campaign pointing specifically in regards to expanding the food bank, expanding the space so we have more access for students who want to go in, expanding the program, et cetera, et cetera. And for those who don't know what the food bank is, it's a system where those who are not able to access food on the regular, they sign up. They're able to come into the food bank once every set amount of time, able to grab a set amount of items for groceries, and then go back home. It is a very, very cherished part of the YFS system. We're also talking about expanding the Good Food Box. I believe it was already mentioned and discussed to Glendon campus. So not only emphasizing and advertising the Good Food Box here on the Keele campus, but also talking about conversations on the Glendon campus, and that just brings us all more togetherness in terms of like what services and what events and what all these types of things coming out of the York Federation of Students can be offered to all different aspects of the York Federation of Students. Go.
Okay, my turn, I guess. So yes, as healthy food is really, really important on campus. We do have, I'm not gonna lie, we do have a couple of very good options, but not many healthy options. And that's one of our team members also working on having a healthy team options on campuses. Food is expensive. When you're a student, you are at all time, you're pretty much broke, and you can afford a lot of things that you want to afford and have the better healthy meal plan as well. For one of my policy, I want to work as for all the students who lives on residence and off campus, having a better meal plan. I heard meal plan minimum starts with a $1,900 per semester, which is the minimum plan, and I think that is really expensive for a student to start with. Having a meal plan option, something too small to start with the people, and having a healthier options, it's much more effective. And I also heard that $1,900, if you don't spend it throughout the semester, it doesn't carry on. That's something I really want to work on with the residency people who live on campus, are working, having a meal plan options, and able to carry on that money and have a lower meal plan options for them. And having also, as I said, said, we want to create a multicultural lounge for one of my policies. And for there, I also mentioned that I want to have a potlucks where it is kind of homemade food from different culture, different countries that you can always bring through that. I want to work with the obviously multicultural clubs around the campus, that having those events going around the campus, that able to people advertise them that hey, there is a free food potlucks going on, you bring your food and able to share with everybody else around the campus. And it is that way you are having a homemade food kind of free meal, and also able to taste the different things what you usually have on campus. And yes, healthier options is we want to have more healthy options than having Popeyes or any kind of chicken nuggets or anything like that. More fruits, more vegetables, and more healthier options, as like we do have a lot of vegetarian students, and I feel like they don't have much options than buying certain things. We want to create more options for them available as well. So these are all these things we want to do as a team as well.
Great. Sounds like there's definitely a lot of advocacy going on. One of my questions was, how would you actually quantify whether sort of your lobbying or activism activities are having an effect? How would you go about quantifying the effect your actions are having? Sort of your, you mentioned a bit about your, the rest of your slate, the promises they make, and that's great. I just want to get a sense of how you would quantify it.
Would you mind giving me an example? I'm just a little bit unclear on the definition.
Basically, when you say we're going to work towards establishing such and such a program, I'm wondering how are we going to quantify progress on various
how we're
initiatives?
going to show progress, or how we're going
how would you quantify it? How would you show it? How would you
on any topic, or are you asking for
on specific York on any initiatives that you would be working on?
Okay. So I think starting off, one of the biggest items is obviously lobbying for lower tuition fees. This has been a kind of a hot button topic for a significant amount of years now. The YFS has always been very, very active in lobbying, in the sense that we make sure that students are aware, first of all, of facts. We make sure that students are aware of what they are paying. Well, obviously they're aware of what they are paying, but of like what percentages go where. We make sure that students are aware of like what is going on in the spectrum around them. So, for example, in Newfoundland and Labrador with the tuition freeze. But we don't want to settle for something like the tuition freeze. We want to have steady progress. So that means bringing, not just freezing tuition, but bringing tuition down. So that's where we kind of like institute the concept of lobbying, so that we keep going and going and going, and again, quantifying, I suppose the term you would explain it, and making sure that we are providing students with adequate results on like what we are trying to provide them with. Another example, I suppose, that I can pull from mine is, from my team, I should say, is the promise to lobby for full OHIP coverage for international students, because to be quite frank, UHIP is complete trash for students. I have been working in the YFS member service office for almost 2 years now, and I've had a significant amount of students come into the office, talk about, first of all, the health plan that the York Federation of Students offers, the YFS Health and Dental Plan, and I assist them with the issues, and they start asking questions about OSAP. And what has been happening is that folks are getting very, very little coverage from, not OSAP, oh my, did I say OSAP? I meant UHIP. Folks are getting smaller amounts from UHIP. Not only is you getting a significant amount less from UHIP, international students pay 3 times the amount of tuition fees that regular students do. UHIP is not readily available around campus. They still have to pay a significant amount of the procedures that they would OHIP students are generally entitled to, and in terms of emergency care or hospitals or doctors outside of campus, a very, very small percentage of doctors actually accept UHIP as viable health coverage as associated with something like OHIP. I have a friend who spent around 4 to 5 hours going around North York and then later on further west, looking for a healthcare provider that would be able to help her with her specific issue. This is not acceptable, so that's why when we use the term lobbying, we're making sure that this information is out there towards students. We make sure that we are stepping up to the university. We are making sure that we are putting these issues forward and presenting this in a more clear basis. I guess that's kind of what I that would be what
Oh.
you were asking. Yeah, I suppose so.
That's my question.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're asking me how I'm gonna.
How would you quantify
For my
progress
policies?
on your initiatives? Yes.
Okay. So as I said, multicultural lounge or having a commuter center. I'm a commuter person. I commute every day, and I understand it's very exhausting at a certain point that you want to have. As for multicultural lounge, I want to work with multicultural club around the campus. That I want to initiate. I want to advertise to the students. That is, these are the accessibility that you have on campus, that you can access to it. Certain things like spoken words, multicultural lounge, or even having free foods. These are all possible as a YFS and working as a team with the different clubs as well, and putting it out there, and also having. One of my policy, as I say, residency meal plan. I want to work with the residency council, work with them and talk to them what are the changes that they would want to have. And as a YFS team, I'm sure we can lobby those kind of changes and make things happen, such as like a better meal plan, healthier meal plan, mental healthness awareness, and on campus at YFS is a certain main place, and doing lobby for that, and also lobbying for having library open during, I know it's open before exam period of time, but it's a lot of people who lives on campus, they want to work at school rather than going home, and having lobbying for opening at least 5 days a week, 24 hours for a student to come in and study all night if they want to study, and that way we will have more opportunity for the people who live on campus and have more opportunity for getting a campus job at the libraries as well. Lobby for that, and also we want to, as a commuter room, I want to have a YFS commuter center and create for the commuter, advertise them, and make sure we work together to bring all these positive changes. And also I want to create, I'm talking about my policies by the way, so I also wanted to create bi-weekly club night at Underground. I want to work with the people over there and figure out, because people who live on campus, they don't have places to go rather than going downtown, and it is kind of out of your way sometimes to do that. But having the opportunity, having everything on campus around you, because you can do everything on campus, and most of the universities, they do have bi-weekly club nights, so I want to work with the Underground as well, with the YFS as a team, and make sure we can organize some kind of, we do have pub nights and have the club nights as well. So these are certain things we need to lobby, and certain things we need to work with the individual, like residency advocates residency or club night, multicultural clubs, and work things out together and put the advertisement to advertise all the students that they know what's going on. I feel like a lot of people, they don't know what's going on around the campus. I want to make sure we have more social news feeds, having online things going on around the campus, and also advertise, talk to them and approach them and let them know what's happening. So these changes are absolutely possible if you work as a team. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm glad you two went through your policies in detail. So at this point, I just want both of you to give closing remarks, and we can wrap up. So we can start with.
Okay, I guess I need to start. I just thought so much.
Just alternate between the two.
Yeah, as I said, I mentioned all my policies and what I want to change, and as me being a student and having a part-time job, I know how hard it is to live a student life and be able to pay for everything and have a social life. So I want to make sure we want to, despite of everything what's going around the campus or whatsoever, I want to bring the positiveness on campus and bring the multicultural diverseness on campus, because we do have a lot of multicultural students around the campus, and also have the fun life and able to have a lower meal plan, and also have a commuter people to distress themselves, able to focus more, have a better mental healthness. And these are all positive changes I believe it's possible to make. And for that, it's not only my changes as a student, I'm speaking on behalf of student, and if you guys would want all these changes, I would love for your support. And that's about it. So I guess that's where I end. Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
awesome, for sure. I don't really know where to begin. I've been a student on this campus now for this is going to be my 5th year, and I absolutely adore York. I have been an advocate for this campus. I've been an advocate for this community since my first day at Frosh, when I fell in love with my college community, when I fell in love with the Winter's Mat Quad Party, when I fell in love with Glendon visiting, when I fell in love with what SCLD does, when I fell in love with what the Red Zone can provide students, when I fell in love with campus touring, with the YFS, with all these different organizations. And I know that it's time for me personally to step up. I know that I can be the best person for this position that the students are demanding for. These folks need more inclusive events. These folks need more equitable events. These folks need more accessible events. And I know that I can be the one to provide these things for you folks. On February 9th, on February 10th, on February 11th, on February 12th, next week, please, please, please come out and vote Student Action. This is a team of folks that have been working their butts off for a significant amount of time to bring you folks something that is totally awesome. The past is completely precedent in what we can show you in terms of the victories. In terms of myself, I may just be beginning my career here, hopefully beginning my career here in terms of YFS execship, but I feel like it's time for me to prove that to y'all. So please come out, speak to me, meet me on the floor. I will tell you everything that I have to offer. And yeah.
That concludes Excalibur's VP Campus Life debates. Stay tuned.